Good. Thank you, Liz. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah. Hi, everyone. This is Liz Nichols from Liz Nichols, A Woman in Motion. I'm totally excited about this interview. Marco is, well, he's an amazing, amazing person. And he's got a special event coming up that is near and dear to my heart. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this over to Marco and ask him to introduce himself, tell us a little bit about him. And I really want to talk about the event coming up because it's super, super important. I'm just thrilled he's doing this. And so, Marco, over to you.
All right. So again, thanks a lot for having me. I'm Marco Magalhaes from Toronto. I've our family has been dealing with epilepsy for a few years now, and I've been also for many years fundraising for many causes. Because of my background, and I like triathlons and long distance rides and runs. So it's always been something that we've been also interested, not only me but the kids too. So this year we decided to put those two things together and say, why don't we, use this for something really good, and let's try to challenge ourselves and fundraising for epilepsy, right? So that was the whole rationale, and then. We got together with a great team of people from Epilepsy South Central Ontario who bought the idea and looked at me and probably thought, well, I think Marco's going a little bit crazy, but he'll do it. I was like, yeah, I can do this. So that's how the You Can Do It ride came together, which is this 300-kilometer bike ride. It's a full day riding from morning to night. That we're going to do coming up on May 25th here in the Southern Ontario region. And our son Daniel, which has epilepsy, and for many years couldn't ride his bike. Now he got really excited, right? Because that not only is a moment that he can help someone, but also raise awareness and just be out there and like any other kid, right? So he's gonna be riding with me for about 50 kilometers on that day.
I just love this. And, it's so important to bring awareness around the epilepsy. And I'd love to do another interview with you around your son's story, too, because I'm just fascinated by what I've read up on it. And I love that it's a family event, too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just amazing. And I know how busy you are. Oh, my gosh. So how can people best reach out to you? I can share the link and all your contact information in this interview.
Yeah. Yeah,
Or how is it
absolutely.
easy?
So
Yeah.
we can find that information. We can share the link from the Epilepsy South Central Ontario website that has the all the information regarding the ride and the links for donation page and fundraising. We also have some other links for a little bit about our story and some media that are available. And I think it's important, as you said, this is all also, to me, it's a lot about the awareness part that, I find that it's so important to talk about this, right? So, for many instances, and I know you had your experience too, and so many families that we talk every day, and we don't actually talk about epilepsy that much, right? So it's interesting that we can see in the media and fundraising and all those things about so many other chronic diseases, right? And still there's this thing about epilepsy, right, that people don't want to talk too much about. And this is so interesting. I'll give you an example. So I have a good friend, Chris, who's also an avid cyclist. And we've been doing triathlons for several years now together, right? And I know his family, he knows my family. But when he got the link for the fundraising, right, for this ride, he texts me desperately within 5 minutes and says, Marco, my son has epilepsy. I was like, I was shocked. Like, oh, how come we've never talked about this, right? And he said, I'm going to ride with you because I can also do this, all right? And that's how he actually joined the ride, exactly because like that, right? So I think this is a great example of how this is important to so many levels, right? Because we can start sharing, like we share our story all the time, right? How devastating it was at some point, the challenges of it, the challenges of the seizures, the challenges that come after the seizures, like all the things that we have to deal on a daily basis, right? But also in a way to inspire other people to talk about it, to reach out. How many families I actually have been just talking to recently, that I'm not a certified therapist or anything, but I by talking to each other and some peer support, right? This is something that we can see making a big change, right? And in this case specifically, the ride will support summer camps for kids with epilepsy here in the region. So, Epilepsy South Central Ontario has sunny day camps which are specifically to support kids who otherwise could not participate in other activities or camps in the summer. And again, this is like very close to my heart because when we were dealing with the worst parts of the epilepsy, yeah, we could not do the same. We cannot join a regular school. We cannot have like normal camps. We cannot have trips. We cannot ride our bikes, right? So for Daniel specifically, this is something that is obviously he's very inspired, very excited to support, right? Because it really close to him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that, right? And you guys didn't know that your kids both had it until you,
We didn't know.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
it was just as instantaneous. Like in 2 minutes I got a text from him and we were like, I cannot believe, see, this exactly explains exactly why we need to do this, right? Because this is exactly how it works. Yeah.
yeah, I know it's so many people don't want to talk about it, and that was some of the things, when I got it like 45 years ago, and
Mhm.
you don't talk about it, and I didn't know anybody at the time, and there was no resources, and there was no this and that, and you need to talk about it. Like, let's talk about it. It's but I think a lot of people still have a stigma around it, and in my life, a lot of time people just didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to know about it, didn't know, and the majority of people have no idea, and not their fault, but they have no idea what to do when somebody has a seizure,
Correct. Yeah. And
so
in our as part of our story, like one of the things that was really I think it all started to make sense to me that I had to somehow do this to support epilepsy. I've been running for epilepsy before, doing marathons and supporting them in so many different ways. But it all came together when we were with Daniel in his school at the time. He was 3. It was a kindergarten, and the school did not know anything about this, right? And at that time, Daniel was having like one seizure every probably 5 to 10 minutes at some point, and that was very difficult, right? And then the school actually got together and actually celebrated Purple Day for the first time, right? When Daniel was in there. They fundraised for Epilepsy Ontario. They had people from Epilepsy Ontario come over and give talks about them on what to do and what to see, how to approach the situation because they're having seizures, and train the staff and how to manage it. So it was such a we were absolutely inspired by the what the school has done, the principal has done, and I think that also kicked in us that, well, this is the way to go, right? Because then you see all of a sudden you have those 50, 60 kids that now know what it is and they know what to do, and for them it's going to be just a normal thing, like someone you know has a high blood pressure and they take pills for it, right? So it is
yeah,
something that we have no problem talking about, right? But at the same time, if I have, say, I have this particular type of seizure, everybody's gonna have this very strange look and it's like, wow, what is that? Like, is this like, they don't even know what to ask, right? Again, because we don't know about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting, and I'm very excited to actually do a couple more interviews with you over the next week or two as well, so we lead up to this event, which is, I'm in awe that you're doing it. But I think they said, or I read, that epilepsy was either the third or the fourth largest neurological condition in the world. And depending on statistics, I've seen numbers of 50 million to 65 million people around the world. But and in Canada, from the numbers I saw, I'm not sure the exact numbers, there's over 300,000 that have it. You know, and again, people don't talk about it. So like, I completely take my hat off to you for everything you're doing. And it's a family event. And I saw a picture of you and your son cycling together, and that melted my heart, right? And you're both kind of high-fiving each other. And, you know, so for everybody out there watching this, this is a really important event. And I'm thrilled Marco is doing this with his family and Canadian Epilepsy Alliance. And you know what, it's such important work to do out there. So I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'd like to do a couple more interviews with you in the next couple of weeks or a couple of days. Are you up to that?
Absolutely. Anytime. I'm
Oh,
happy to be here and I'm happy to do it. Yeah.
oh, this is wonderful. All right. Well, what I'll do, I know you're still at work, so thank you for taking a bit of time out for the interview. And I will we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.